Okay, Kerry.
I'm here.
Okay.
Today is the 25th of May. So that way, if you're looking for this particular call, you can find it. Before we start, does anybody have a comment or something they want to share with us? And then we'll get started. Does anybody have anything they would like to start with? Okay. What we did this week is we had a meeting today, and there's a lot of people saying there's a lot of corruption in the courts. And believe me, there is. We need to stop letting them be corrupt. We need to take the corruption away from them. And how we get to do that is we got to understand what they're saying. In other words, if they're speaking Spanish and you speak English, you'll never understand what they say. You might pick up every fourth or fifth word and then kind of draw a conclusion of what they're saying. But they're speaking a language called legalese. Well, what does that mean? Well, that's a bastardization of the English language. And what we're trying to do here is show you how to use that to your advantage. Now, what we have this week, what we had this week is we had a guy send I have a form that I made. It's called the 1020, and what it is he sent that out to the county for his taxes. Now, the key to all this is when you first get your property tax, you're going to get a statement. That statement will say they'll say a few things on there, but and they'll tell you not to pay it. Now, the problem with that is you have 30 days, just like everything else. In 30 days, it becomes a bill. So if you look up the word statement in Black's Law Dictionary, it's different. So you have to do it in the statement stage. They won't answer you, but that's to your advantage. Then we do a fault, and then we do a default. Now you have everything you need to do what you need to do on your property taxes. What do I mean by that? Well, you're going to get a statement. That statement's it's going to tell you that the land or the property is worth $4,000. The improvement is $100,000, so that's $104,000. Your property tax bill will be $10,000, but don't pay it. It's just a statement. There's no dollar signs anywhere on it. That's when we come up with my form and send it to them and say to them, I'm confused. You sent me a statement. The statement has no specie on it. What specie is type of money. In other words, specie, that would be pesos, could be Federal Reserve notes, could be Dutch marks from Germany. So what we're doing is we're asking them, what will you accept as payment? They can't tell you, so we do a fault with a right to cure and then a default, and then we file a lawsuit on the grounds. If I don't pay this, they're going to take my property in court. Therefore, it has to be a legal problem. I'm not an attorney. I can't make a legal determination. So then what we do is we sue them for sending us a statement. We ask them how to pay it. We can't. So in the default, we tell them on the form, if you don't answer the following questions, if you don't answer the questions, then you admit that the statement was sent incorrectly and the default will make the payment. Now, what happens is what we do is we wait until 45 days, 60 days, 90 days, or whatever into it. They've already it'll come back with a S with one line through it. That's not a dollar, but that is a sign. And now you have a whole lot harder argument because now it's indicated. What they want to do is wait for you to wait the 30 days, so they now have something to hook you with. The other problem that we're having is the homestead exemption. In Texas, we have a homestead exemption. So what they'll ask you is, do you want to save money on your property tax? Well, of course I do. Well, the Texas Constitution says you don't have to pay any. So how do you save money? How do you save when your property tax bill is zero? How do you save when it's zero? The only way to do it is to let them raise it so they can lower it back down. So on the homestead exemption, that's a contract. And what it says in there, that you give up your property, it becomes property, it becomes commercial. They're telling you something in there, and then you sign it, they take it, and they use that as their jurisdictional argument. Now they're not going to answer your questions because you freely gave that to them. So there's a couple of things that are going. The other problem we're having is we have people that are LLCs. And see, an LLC is a limited liability company or a limited liability corporation. And think about this for just a minute. Why does somebody have an LLC? The reason they have an LLC is to get the benefit of lower taxes and protection. So if you get sued. Now, I want you to just think about this. Since you've had the LLC, how many times have you been sued where that's a benefit to you? I've been doing this since 1988. I've never been sued and I needed protection. So I've been doing it for 30 years, and I have no reason. So having an LLC, again, that's a contract. What that does is, and if you think about it, if you're an LLC, the LLC was written by a particular group of people, most likely an attorney, possibly a CPA. Well, the CPA is a certified public accountant who gets his certification from the Internal Revenue Service. So they're not going to say, okay, we're an LLC, so the IRS, we can show you these loopholes to stop you from paying. They can't do that. So what we're doing is we're asking other people to do what we should do ourselves. In other words, I'm a contractor. If I don't know how to a flooring contractor, if I don't know how to lay floors, how do I know my guy's putting them down right? Well, look, that line's crooked. Oh, it's supposed to do that. Oh, okay. Well, why is that carpet going on an angle? Oh, it's supposed to do that. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, okay. See, that sounds ridiculous, but that's what we're doing. See, so what we're doing is we're setting ourselves up because we don't understand something. So we get a third party to write up a contract that we don't understand, and we don't read it. Then we file it in a court that we don't know if we're filing it properly. Now we have what we think we have for protection. I've been a contractor for 30 years, and I've never been sued where I needed a protection. So if you need protection for your assets, then put your assets in something else. In other words, get a DBA. Put your house in a DBA, doing business as. I'll put it in flooring, floors and more, DBA. Then I'll put my house there. That's my office. Now it's DBA. They're not going to come after the house because the house doesn't do anything. See, then what you can do is there's other ways to protect yourself without using the government. And that way you end up not having yourself exposed. I hope that made sense. The other thing that we're having is what we do. What we do is we go to the tax court with their paperwork, and they give us a document saying that the commissioner said the IRS doesn't have jurisdiction. With that document, there's all kinds of things that we can do with it. So what we're doing is we're asking the government. I want protection for taxes. No problem. What we're going to do is we're going to protect you from taxes. Well, how are you going to get a protection from taxes if you don't pay any? So you have to automatically become something that you may or may not be. Just like with the church. The church is a 508 is a church. That's Internal Revenue Code 508. A church, you can't even look at it. They're exempt. They're protected by the First Amendment. But what they've done is they've allowed them to become a 501c3. That's a tax-exempt organization. Well, guess what? Organization has a special meaning, and it says it's a government entity. So, again, now the church is asking to be a government entity. And I want you to think about this statement for a minute. My religion says, whatever it is, and it doesn't matter, but yet my pastor cannot get in front of his congregation and say, don't vote for so-and-so, he's a skunk. Vote for somebody else. If he does, the government comes in and shuts it down and says, you have to have separation of church and state. Yet the government will come to my church and say, turn over his records. If you don't, well, how do they get away with that? Because my church is a 501c3. Again, we don't understand what we have. So we ask again, I want to deduct my church giving off my income taxes. There's that benefit again. So my question would be, if you don't pay anything, why would you ask for any benefit? And that's what we're trying to teach you here, is how to look at things slightly different. Now, this is a true story. Now, a friend of ours years ago would cook a pot roast for Sunday, and the little part of the leg that would stick up, which he would cut that off with a knife, wrap it in aluminum foil, put it in the refrigerator, and cook the roast. It went on like this every Sunday. One day, their child said, "Why do you cut that leg off of the that section off of the pot roast?" She said, "Well, Mama did it." Oh. So they asked the grandmother, her mother, "Why do you cut that off of there?" She says, "Well, my mother did it." "I don't know why we did that." So they asked the grandmother or the great-grandmother of the little girl, "Why did you do that?" She said, "Oh, that's easy. We didn't have a pan big enough to put the roast in it. We had to cut that off. We cooked it the next day." So here we're doing stuff, and in other words, we're doing stuff. Why are you doing it? "I don't know, because Mom told me to." And see, we have to remember, because somebody tells you you're wrong doesn't mean you're wrong. Doesn't mean you're right. But just because somebody tells you something doesn't make it so. Now, what we're trying to do here is we do not give legal advice. But what we try to show you is, once you go to the tax court, get your court order, you can file it in the county. Last in is first out. So when you file it in the county, we're finding out it says that they didn't have jurisdiction. We just go on to the county that has your liens in it. We file it in there. We file it right on top of them. What ends up happening is the county now, we've neutered the county. Normally, not every time, but normally what happens is after 3 or 4 weeks of that, they'll purge that out, because they'll purge both of them out. And that's fine. We don't care what they do. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to find ways to help do, how do I say it? Help you with trying to figure out what they're saying, because what they're saying is they have a bizarre way of saying it. Now I want you to think about this. I'm going to ask a question. I want somebody to come on and ask me. I have a garage, and in my garage I have 2 lifts. I have 6 toolboxes. I have 4 jacks. I have a parts washer, and I have oil filters all over the wall, and I have 6 or 7 cases of oil. I have a workbench and a vise. What do I do for a living? Will somebody come on and tell me?
What kind of occupation are you in?
Yeah. What kind of occupation am I in?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Store equipment.
Okay. I store equipment. Why would you say I store equipment?
That's
in my garage.
You got all that stuff
No.
in there.
No, all that, it all works, and I use it.
Yeah, well, you have an inventory of tools.
Exactly. So I have an inventory of tools. So what does that make me?
A storage guy. You store tools.
All right. See, I'm trying to get you to say something and you haven't said it. You're exactly right. By doing it the way you did it, you're making me define it. For an example, by what I said had nothing to do with anything. All that does is I'm storing tools. That's right. If you would have said I was a mechanic, why would you say that? Because you got all the tools. Gotcha.
That's an assumption I have to make.
That's right. See, but when you make that assumption, you have a fast car and you own a gun, so you must be a bank robber. What? Yeah. Because, wait a minute. Doesn't that make sense now? Oh.
Absolutely.
See?
They always connect the dots the way we don't.
That's exactly right. So what we have to do is we have to tell them, no, what I am is I'm a tile contractor, and I use that in my garage to fix my truck, so my trucks can pull the trailer I need it to pull and haul the load that I need it to load. That way I don't have to take my truck in and get it fixed. I got a place to fix it at the house. Plus, I enjoy working on cars. See, well, wait a minute. None of that had anything to do with what I said. We assume, and once we assume, we stick our foots in our mouth, and when we do, it's over. And that's what I try to show you here. I assume absolutely nothing. See, by not assuming anything, what you do is you eventually do what you did, right? No, let me tell you what I do. Then they tell you. Now you can see where they're doing you wrong. See? Now, in the state of Texas, we have a sales tax permit that you don't have to pay sales tax. There's a form for that. There's a form in every state that has this. In your state, there's a form. You fill it out and give it to in other words, Home Depot, the Lowe's. You give it to the Ace Hardware. You give it to anywhere you buy it. Take it to your tire store. Take it to your whatever, and you won't pay sales tax. Now, I want you to think about this. If you spend $30,000 a year on non-food items, I'm just using 10% because it's easy. That's $3,000. If you don't pay sales tax, you put $3,000 in your pocket. In 10 years, that's $300,000. That would be $30,000. Now you can buy a car with it. Every 10 years, you can buy a brand new car. What I'm saying is there's a lot of stuff that you can do if you look at stuff different. Okay? Now, for those of you that live in a state that have a state income tax, Texas doesn't. If you'll pull your state income tax instruction handbook, what it is in some states, in Michigan, it's an M1. All right? In Massachusetts, it's a Massachusetts 1040. If you'll go in and read it, you'll see it'll have the 1040 form, and on there it'll say income goes here. Then go in the book and find where it says income goes here. They'll tell you when income goes there. In that book, it's going to give you the instructions on how to fill it out. It's going to say, not verbatim, but very close, the income is figured on your federal income tax. Something to that effect. So the question is, now you can write a letter to the taxing authority or the income tax for your state and ask them, I just want to make sure, page 6 of the Ohio income tax return booklet, instruction booklet, page 5, highlighted and included for your convenience. It says, and then you quote it. I just want to make sure I understand. Does that mean whatever I do for the federal government, federal income tax, that's what I do for the state? Please explain. Please answer. If you don't answer, then you're saying no. I make it, do it. So when they write you a letter, they're going to write you back and say, well, that's exactly what you do. Once you've been to the tax court, you have a court order that says the IRS doesn't have jurisdiction. Then you can write a letter saying to them, I won't be filing this year because here's what you said. Here's where it says I do that, and here's what the federal government said. Here's what the IRS told me. Then you see, now what you do is I don't tell them anything. See, I ask. I constantly ask. And by asking, they'll give you everything you want. And so how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So let's say you have to have 42 bites of the elephant, that when you walk in the courtroom, you win. You win hands down. They can't stop you. But you go in there with 27 bites. You have a fighting chance now. See, you're not going to walk in and they're going to roll over, but you've got 27 things that they've said, told you, and done. See, now we're taking the corruption away from the judges by doing that. See? And if you understand, you're in a dark room. All right? You can't see anything in the room. You want to sit down on the couch, but you can't find it, right? Because you don't know how big the room is or where it's at. The best thing to do is understand the room. Well, how do you do that? You turn the light on. Oh, there's the couch. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to turn the light on in the dark room. So if you're in a state that has income taxes, pull your state's income tax return, which in some cases it's a 1040. Then get the instruction booklet. The instruction booklet in Maine is about 70 pages. Download it in PDF and then put it in the find column. Find federal. It'll show it to you. There it is right there. Wow, page 5, line 3, paragraph 2. It says your state income taxes are figured on the federal. That's all you need to see. Find how many times it's in there. Okay, it's in there 4 times. Take those pages, highlight them, print them, write your letter. I'm confused on how to do the income taxes in the state of. It says this in the book. Here's the pages highlighted for your convenience. In the book, it says that I have to do my state income taxes the same way I do my federal. I'm not sure about that. I'm kind of a little bit slow on the uptake. So would you help me? Is that a true statement? If you don't answer it, then I can't file what I don't understand. That means you're trying to keep me. See, I blame them for everything. They'll write you back and they'll say, yes, what you do is you take your federal income tax, 1040, and whatever's on your 1040, that's what you put on you. Thank you very much. Then what you do is you write them a letter saying, oh, here's the letter you wrote me. Here's what you said. Here's what it says here. So the only way I can figure this out is it says I do the same thing the feds say. I took the feds to federal tax court. The commissioner of the Internal Revenue Service, by the way, parentheses, he's the boss, or the boss. The boss said they don't have jurisdiction on the grounds. So if the feds don't have jurisdiction and I figure my taxes, my state taxes on the federal, and they don't have jurisdiction, then I can only assume because of your own testimony, I don't have, the state doesn't have it either. So I won't be filing this year because you said. And then send it back to them. And then you get to watch the party begin. Because under the system that they've put together, you can't file taxes on Federal Reserve notes. And the reason you can't, because it's a debt. See, if you can pay a debt with a debt, go buy you a brand new car and pay the debt, the car payment with your house payment. Just tear the coupon off of your car payment, sign it, put it in the envelope, and send it to your car. Then take your car coupon, your cable bill with it. Take your cable bill and pay your internet bill with it. And pay your phone with it. See, they don't want you to know that, but that's how it's set up.
Hey, I don't know if anyone can hear, but we can't hear you, or at least I can't.
Hello. Everybody got knocked off for some reason.
Sorry about that, Ed.
Still
it dropped off on me. Yeah, it dropped off on me. All right. Ed, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, it dropped off.
I don't know how many got back on. We lost most of it.
All right. Well, we can wait a few minutes. So I want you guys to think about that for a minute. I want you to think about it. If you have any questions, ask me. so I can steer you in the correct direction. What we have to understand is we're challenging this jurisdictionally. Does anybody on here, I'm going to ask the question and see if you can answer it while we wait. All right. How do you give the court jurisdiction? How do you give a court jurisdiction? Okay. How do you get, all right. How does the court have jurisdiction?
If they don't have it to begin with, you can't give it to them.
Exactly. Now,
perhaps by engaging with them.
No, sir. They can't have it. If they don't have it, they don't have it. You cannot give it to them. And let me prove my point. Then I'm going to ask another question. Your wife wants to get a divorce. So she goes to the federal district court, files a divorce, and the federal district judge gives her everything. The house, both cars, the boat, the children, everything. Tell me what she just got.
Nothing.
Why?
Because she's in the federal jurisdiction.
Okay, but now she gives him a letter, you give him a letter, you both give them, you both acknowledge it and give it to him. Now what does she have?
Everything.
Nothing, because the federal district court does not have jurisdiction. See? In other words, okay, see? So if the court does not have it, you can't give it to them. Now, how does the court get jurisdiction? Let's say let's say the Internal Revenue Service sues you in federal district court. How would you give the federal district court jurisdiction over your tax issue? Okay. By your silence, I'll assume you don't know. Now, let me explain it this way. There's two kinds of jurisdiction. In rem, which is subject matter, and in personam. In personam. In personam is personal jurisdiction, and in rem is subject matter. Which one is the most important for the court to have in order to make a ruling in your case? In rem or in personam?
In personam, isn't it?
No, sir, that would be incorrect. So what would it be?
In rem, subject over the thing.
Absolutely not. That would be incorrect.
Oh. Well, then I couldn't answer that question based on the question you asked.
That's exactly right. So guess what? They're both exactly equal. They have to have both. See? In other words, if they have in rem, which they can never get in rem, and the reason they can't get in rem because the Bill of Rights says we have inalienable rights. Another word for that would be unalienable rights. The court's trying to lien our rights. They lose jurisdiction right there at that point. In rem, they might have that, but in personam, that's personal jurisdiction. They lose because of the Bill of Rights protects us against the court. Now, they could have subject matter, but that wouldn't matter. Now, you think about this. You have two legs to walk without a limp. I'm going to saw off one of your legs, your left leg or your right leg. Which one can I saw off and you not limp?
Neither one.
See, you got to have them both. Same thing with the court. But what they do is they make us think they have it, and then we confess to everything, sign a document, because what they'll do is what they did to me is they said to me, you're going to prison for 55 years. I said, okay, that's, okay. He said, but if you'll sign this document, I'll give you 17 years. I said, how about this? I'll sign that document if you put it at 100 years. Because I want you to think about this. Think about your age. I'm going to give you 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, or 100 years. Which one's the worst? Which one's the worst? No, not all of them. No, they're not all the worst. See, it doesn't matter. You're not going to live 30 more years in a prison condition. I won't live that long. So it doesn't matter, 30 years or 100 years. So I chose 100. See, they didn't have enough So now he wants to negotiate. Well, I'll tell you what, I've never done this before, but I'll give you 10 years. I said, okay, make it 110 years. I'll do that. So see, they have their hands full. So I realized I'm not going to give them jurisdiction. So what I did is I wrote a letter to the United States District Court, and before I got indicted, and I asked them, what I have to know is, does the district court have jurisdiction on tax issues or an Internal Revenue Service issue? They didn't answer me. So I mailed them 3 letters a week for, I'm going to say 3, 4, 5 months. I started emailing them. They wrote back to me and says, we don't give legal advice. Thank you. I'm not asking for legal advice. I'm asking, do you have jurisdiction on an IRS or an IRS issue? That's all I want to know. That's a yes or a no. I put a little box, check the box, put a self-addressed stamped envelope, and mail it back. They wrote me back and said, no, we have nothing to do with taxes or the Internal Revenue Service. Now they got a problem. So who has jurisdiction on the Internal Revenue Service? I want you to think about that. Who has jurisdiction on the Internal Revenue Service? Can you tell me?
Tax court has limited jurisdiction.
Okay, so if the tax court has limited jurisdiction, if you go on their website, go on the tax court's jurisdiction under, it'll say this court is a court of limited jurisdiction, and they'll tell you what they have jurisdiction on. See? So they have jurisdiction on taxes. That's why it's a tax court. The federal tax court has jurisdiction on taxes. The United States District Court will say, well, this is a court of limited jurisdiction. And they list all the 5 things they have jurisdiction on. That's when I realized that IRS can't take you to federal court. They have to take you to tax court. But we've already been to tax court. I've already got a court order from the judge saying that the IRS doesn't have jurisdiction. So now they always go to the federal district court. If you don't know any better, they'll put you in jail. So what we're trying to do is trying to get you to understand the jurisdictional argument.
Okay, may I please ask, Terry?
Ask me anything you want.
Okay, in accordance with the 12277 that we were working on and saying, you're supposed to know the law and you're expected to know the law, that, and so we're going to take them to federal district court. The thing is, the DOJ always shows up for the IRS. How do they become the real party in interest? Or why does the DOJ represent the IRS? How do they have permission to do that?
Okay, I don't know. So you know what I always do? I ask them, are you part of this lawsuit? No. Oh. Then you can't speak.
Are you part of this lawsuit?
In other words, okay, the IRS is suing me. The DOJ steps in. Does the Department of Justice have jurisdiction over the IRS, or can they be hired by them? See, I can't hire a criminal lawyer to represent me in a civil case because he's not going to do it. You can't hire a defense criminal lawyer in a. You could hire them, I guess, but see, they're ineffective. Why? Because that's not their jurisdiction and they don't understand it. You got to understand where you're at in the room. And so what I'm trying to show you is I never ask any questions that doesn't have something to do with jurisdiction. Now, I live in Texas. If I get a ticket in Texas, when I go to the court, the first question out of my mouth is, does this court have jurisdiction? Without fail, the judge always says yes. I say, oh, I believe it, but can I see it? No, you cannot. Okay, since you have it, I have a traffic ticket, then I assume this is a traffic code court. And then I shut my mouth, and then the fun begins. Well, yeah, either you are or you aren't. Is this a traffic code court? Soon as he says, well, yes, not a problem. In Texas, the traffic code is 541. .201 says that the traffic code is for commercial use only. Now, I backed him into a corner. So he said he was a traffic code court. The traffic code says it's for commercial use only. Now, I don't have to worry. Were you speeding? I don't care if I was speeding. Was I in a commercial vehicle? And then I've got the commercial vehicle. I have it defined. They define it. So did that take place? See, I don't argue the fact. I'm not going to argue the argument they want to hear. I argue an argument they never see coming. Now, the guy that's talking to me, I'm going to ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
One of my guys today, we were hanging, I don't know why he was doing this, the idiot. He was hanging sheetrock over a door, and he was standing on the 10-foot ladder, because this has got a 14-foot ceiling. And he went to hammer it in, and he dropped his hammer, and he didn't have a hard hat on, and it hit him right on top of the head. So what happened was the hammer fell 14 feet and hit him on top of the head. How bad do you think it hurt him?
I don't think I'm thinking, what is it, upsodasium or what?
Well, the guy was an idiot. I understand. But he dropped his hammer. Actually, he dropped his hammer, and the guy holding the ladder, it actually...
Oh, okay, there's a guy holding the ladder. I misunderstood.
Right.
Okay, so the guy holding the ladder got hit with the guy on the 14-foot top. I don't know if it hurt him or not. How could I know?
What do you think?
Well, I think I don't know. I have no clue if it didn't hurt my head.
Right. See how simple this becomes? Didn't hurt him at all. The idiot was pounding nails in with a Nerf hammer. He dropped the Nerf hammer 14 feet and landed on top of the guy's head. It was a Nerf hammer. We laughed, and he almost fell off the ladder laughing so hard. See, you don't have enough information to answer the question, so you can't assume anything. So the question, how far did the hammer fall? Oh, so he was 14 feet. So he was laying on the ground with his head against the floor? Well, no, then had to have fallen only 12 feet or 6 feet, or it couldn't have fallen because what kind of hammer was it? How hard did he swing it? Well, what kind of handle did it? See, all these things, if you don't know it, you can't answer it. That's what I'm trying to teach here. What I'm trying to teach you is they'll ask you a question, and there'll be something left out of the question, so that when you answer it, what you do is you throw your own self under the bus. Then when the bus hits you, you say, boy, that judge he threw me under the bus. No, he didn't. You did it to yourself. We have to stop doing that. We just have to understand the language and what they're saying. See? Does that make sense?
It makes wonderful sense. Thank you so much for that.
Oh, my pleasure. Now, it snowed today. I couldn't believe it. I live in Texas, and it snowed today, 2.5 foot. Does anybody want to know how that happened?
Yeah, sure. I would love to know how that happened.
In Antarctica?
Yeah, you didn't say it snowed in Texas.
I did not say that. I said no. I said I live in Texas. It snowed 2 feet. See, you can't assume anything. And all I'm trying to do is show you that's how I do everything. See? My truck, I have a truck. I drive an F-150, and it has 17-inch tires on it. I need to buy tires. What size do you think I would buy?
Whatever is recommended by the F-150 company from Ford, whatever the manual says, that's the size you buy.
I didn't say I was buying. I didn't say I was buying tires for my truck. I have to buy it for one of my installers. He's got a 3/4 ton 9-ply, and he's got 6 of them, and they're 22-inch.
Okay.
Again, what I did is I threw the red herring in there. I drive an F-150. It has 17-inch tires. Golly, I got to buy tires tomorrow. What size am I going to buy? Oh, you're going to buy 17-inch? No, I'm not. I'm buying it for my guy. He drives a 1-ton Ford. He's got dual wheels on the back, and they're 22-inch. Oh, you didn't say that.
Leading me down a path and then yanking me.
Exactly. That's exactly what they do. And I've seen it with my own eyes, and I see it every day. Now, what we've done is we've put together a package, and the IRS has tried to put 28 people in prison this year. We've used my 30-page package, and every one of them has walked home. They have not gotten them. And the reason they haven't, because we do not assume anything. Now, just for a peculiarity here, I'm working with a guy right now, and they're trying to put him in jail for willful failure to file. So 7203 is willful failure to file. Under the parallel table of authority, 7203 is Title 27. On the document that he's got, it says failure to file a 1040. Now, tell me what's wrong with this. What's wrong with this scenario?
They don't have jurisdiction or enforcement for Title 27. They only have it. Enforcement comes from Title 27, not Title 26. And they're trying to use Title 27 to enforce Title 26.
Okay, if that's the case, wouldn't the 1040 be a Title 27 form? Because he's got it for willful failure to file the 1040. The willful failure to file is Title 27. So wouldn't that make the 1040 a Title 27 form?
Logically, you would think that, but it's not.
Okay. Well, wait, really? How do you know it's not?
Because the instruction manual says. The instruction manual.
The instruction manual says you have to file a return or a statement. It doesn't say a 1040. So it could be a 27 form, and they want you to file it so that they have jurisdiction over alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. So when they say you didn't file your tax return, the 1040, we're coming after you for willful failure to file. Willful failure to file is Title 27. That makes the 1040 a Title 27 form. I don't do alcohol, tobacco, and firearms.
Right.
Does that make any sense?
Super. Yep, sure does. I don't.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions? Because I'd sure like to answer. You got me here now. If you have a question, if you ask it, I can answer your particular question for your particular situation and give you the advantage that you may want if you need it. Okay, since nobody's asking any questions, I assume everybody's doing wonderful. Let me tell you what I got. I got an email, maybe a week ago. Joe Biden said to the IRS, collect $1 trillion more. We need $1 trillion more taken from the taxpayer. Here's the problem. We have an economy that's almost died. He's going to take another $1 trillion out of the economy by taxing and taking another $1 trillion out of the economy. Here's where the problem comes. The IRS said we can't. We don't have enough people. He said, well, what do you need? He said, well, we need to hire people. He said, then hire them. How many do you need? They said 20,000. He said, hire 30,000. Well, we don't have any money. He said, well, here, I'll have the Treasury give you $80 billion, and there's more where that comes from. So if you don't have a problem right now, you're going to. So understand what they're doing so that when they come or when they ask you a question, you can answer the question. You don't give them a silly answer. In other words, they ask you a question and you give them an answer that doesn't make sense. They know you don't know. They're going to come and get you. They're going to come and take all your money, your house, anything if it's not nailed down, they're going to take it. If it's nailed down, they're going to bring a nail puller and pull it up too. Does that make any sense to you? Now, Biden said that he's going to have them pick up and take more out. Take more. What jurisdiction does he have to do that? Does anybody know the jurisdiction that he has to tell them to get more money?
Well, if the IRS doesn't have jurisdiction to begin with, they're certainly not going to get it from this stuff.
Well, of course, the IRS does have jurisdiction, by the way. They sure do.
In D.C.?
Yeah.
Nope. They have it in all 50 states. And, the Hawaii is part of that 50. So, you got to understand this. They have absolute jurisdiction over alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. So if you drink beer in Hawaii, they got jurisdiction. But you're correct. They don't have jurisdiction over income. That's a fact, unless it's derived by alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. Does that make sense? All right, somebody's got some noise in the background. If you would hit *6, and so it's not so. And then if you want to come out and talk, just hit *6 and unmute. All right, the guy that said that in Washington D.C. Will you come back on and let me know you're here?
When we press, can anybody hear me?
I can hear you perfect.
Okay, I pressed *6 a long time ago, and I was thinking it was like on Tad's call that somebody would say, "It's open."
No,
okay.
We let you just do your own thing. So.
Okay. Sorry about that.
You're fine.
This is for you, Terry, and my question is, one of my questions is there a form like the W-4V, which says, I don't want any tax taken out of, employee federal, income tax. I don't want it taken out. Is there a similar form for what they call independent contractors or affiliates, people who aren't employees but get a tax bill?
Yes, there's a W-8, and on the W-8 you tell them, that you're a contractor. There's a W-8 BEN that does it for you, and what that does is that tells the people you're working for that you're a 1099 employee. But that's called the W-8 and the W-8 BEN.
Okay,
I don't know how to use them, but I have somebody that's pretty good with them. So if you want to, I can get you in contact with them, and you and them can talk and do that. But
okay, I'd appreciate that because I was used to the old W-8 back in the late 90s and 2000, and I opened a bank account with no numbers because of the W-8. And they then came out with a new form, and I wanted to open an account at another bank, and they refused the form. And I said, well, it says right on there, or anything close to this new W-8 BEN. So I said, I'm giving you one that's like it. You can call it old if you want to, but it's still an IRS form, and that's a W-8 purposes. Because the new W-8 thing is more complex. It's hard to understand. It's more entangled.
Yes, it is. Well, let me tell you what I'm doing, okay? It's a little more work. The bank does not want to deal with me. Okay, when I walk in there, they treat me real funny. They walk me up to the window, and then they'll cut me in line. They'll take me in one of their offices. They'll take my deposit, and then they walk me out. Now, what you can do is going to be a little bit of work because they'll still fight you. But once you file the lawsuit against the bank, there's no upside to the bank. So what I do is I go to the bank and ask them if I ask the bank, I'll say, can I open an account here? What kind of account do you want? Well, I'd like a checking account. You sure can. Let me get you Mary Lou. So Mary Lou or Billy Bob, whatever, comes and takes me in their office, and I always try to do the small talk. I try my best to just talk to them so that I break down the barrier, and I'm real good at that. But I'll tell them, I say, wow, that's pretty cool. Does this bank have a legal department? Yeah, we do. Wow, I didn't see it in the building. No, it's in the home office. Okay, where's the home office? Why do you want to know that? Well, I just want to make sure that my money's protected. And it's in whatever, Oklahoma City. Wonderful. What's your first name? So I give it to them. See, then I asked the bank, but before we go any farther, does this bank discriminate against color, creed, sexual orientation, or religion? Of course not. Oh, that's wonderful. What else do you need? So they'll ask you for my address, and I'll give it to them. Then they'll ask you for my Social Security number, and I say, whoa, wait a minute. I can't give that to you. My religion says the Social Security number is the mark of the beast, and we're forbidden by my religion to use it. Well, then we can't give you an account. Oh, so you do discriminate against color, creed, sexual orientation, and religion. No, we don't. Okay, then my religion says they don't know how to deal with me, so they tell me they're not going to do it. Then I already got the legal department. I know where it's at. I put a letter together, and I immediately send it to them, say, I tried to open an account today at your bank, and the bank told me they do not discriminate against color, creed, sexual orientation, or religion. Is that a true statement? They always get back and say, well, of course not. Okay, well, they discriminated against me on my religion. Then they come back and say, well, blah, blah. So what's going to happen is I'm going to have to file suit against your bank because you violated me, discriminated against me because of my religion. Now they don't know what to do. In most cases, they will give me a checking account without a social. In most cases.
Okay. What about if you already, like I already have a bank with a Social Security number, a bank account with that.
Right. Just go to a different bank. In other words.
So it's real convenient because I walk. I don't have a car. It's real convenient if I close that out and try to open one without one.
Right. Well, I haven't tried that. But there's another bank somewhere. What you need to do is keep that one open, and then what you need to do is get one without it and just use the one without it as your transfer money, or as if you smell trouble, you just transfer it over there. That way you've got the best of both worlds. You can do whatever commerce you want with the bank, and then maybe you want to cross the street or in the next shopping center down or whatever. Well, you can open one there. That way you've got two. It doesn't hurt to have two. And they're going to tell you that they're going to tell you that the bank's policy. See, now what I try to do is when I go there, I try to get the person's name. Now I don't want their address and all that. The person's name. Well, are you the manager? Do you have a manager? See, I'm trying to see what I'm doing is I'm building myself a portfolio that when I go to court, not only did the lady behind the counter do it, the manager knows about it, the legal department knows about it. That way when I send my notice out, this is a notice to sue. I'm trying to open, and then here's who's aware of it. See, I get as many people involved as I can so that it creates a real stink for me.
Okay, so here's a thought. I'll just put it out in front of you. So say in the instance where, like, I have this convenient bank, and it has Social Security on it, and I close out the account, and I say I want to open it again, and I want to open an account, and this time I say, I do what the scenario you just went through, and I say, well, I can't give that, and because it is against my religion, and they say, well, we already have a Social Security number for you. Right. I say, well, you can't use it because at the time I did that, I didn't understand that about my religion, but my religious conviction is. And you
can try that.
I guess it would be worth trying, wouldn't it?
It would be worth trying, yes. It would be worth trying. What I'm saying is before you close that up, sit down with the manager and say, I just realized the bank here is interfering with the God I serve. You're interfering with my religion. Is it normal that you do that? What do you mean? Well, my religion, I didn't know it at the time. And instead of closing it out, try to have it taken off of there. That might work too. I've never done that. Now that would be something that I haven't done, and if it happens, that would be great.
Yeah, so we need some experience with it.
Right. So what I try to do is I try to give them an argument. I try to give them a slant they've never seen before, so that when they start talking, they're going to give you legal advice. Well, according to the bank's policy. So in other words, the bank's policy, you're saying that this bank does. See, now I started hammering them for the bank's policy. Okay, someone that just coughed, would you hit *6, please? What I'm saying is, what I try to do is I try to argue something that they never see coming. That's all. That way, when I do have to take them to task, I have everything that I need. I need 48 bytes. I got 71 bytes. They can't beat me now. I say, and it's gonna, it's a little bit of work, but it's well worth it. I have 3 accounts that don't have Social Security numbers on them. Every time I go in there, they say, yes, all at the same bank, because I got the one and then I got the second one, and then they wouldn't give me the third one, and I said, why not? Well, you already got 2. Well, that's fine. If you're not gonna give me the third one, then you're saying to me that what you're saying is you're gonna, okay, we'll just give it to you. You already got 2. So the policy can be overridden, but you got to understand something. I'm obnoxious. I don't mean to be, but I can be. And it becomes so ridiculous that I'll tell them, well, then I'm going to pick it out front that you're discriminating against it. I'll stand on the street. I won't be in your property. I'm going to make a sign that says this bank discriminated against my color, creed, sexual orientation, or religion. I'm going to hold out a sign. I'm going to stand there. Everybody going by, I'm going to tell them I can do that. I'm just going to let them know. See, I become it's easier not to deal with me. It's easier to give me what I want than it is to deal with me. That's all.
Uh-huh. Okay, thank you. I'll let somebody else ask that question, then I'll come back.
That's my pleasure. Okay. Does anybody else have a question?
Yeah, Kay, I got a question for you.
Wonderful.
So, I've got my second court order on the way. I've got the motion for 2018 and 2019. I just got my first nastygram from them saying, hey, we need you to...
Hold on. From them. Who's them?
The IRS.
Okay. See, I thought you meant the court.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's not from it says Internal Revenue Service, Department of Treasury.
Gotcha. Go ahead.
And they basically just said, we noticed you haven't filed for these 4 years. I already have all the certified copies for 3 of the years. The last year, 2019, it's still case pending. So I've got the motion for that 2019, but I do not have the order yet.
Okay, let me give you a little hint. Are you in front of a computer?
Mm-hmm. I have my phone right here, yeah. Yes, I have my phone right here.
All right. Go online and do a 1040 instructions. When you get it, I'm going to show you. It tells you what to say and how to say it and what words to use, how to capitalize. It gives you everything you want to know right there in the 1040 instruction booklet. It's going to tell you how to do it.
Okay, I've got it here.
Go to page 108.
This is
and at the top, go ahead, and at the top of page 108, tell me what the heading on that page is.
Disclosure, Privacy Act, and Paperwork Reduction Act Notice.
Okay, now go to the left column, 3rd paragraph. When you start reading it, please don't read it fast. This is not a hurry, because in that paragraph, it tells you everything you need to know about Title, the 1040 form. So read it slow.
Our legal right to ask for information.
When I ask you to stop, I need you to stop. Our legal right. Now tell me who our is.
The IRS.
Okay, let's read it that way. The IRS's legal right to ask. So what's the opposite of legal?
Illegal.
Okay, now remember that. Go ahead and start over and read it, but don't. When I ask you to stop, I want you to stop. Go ahead, read it again.
Our legal right to ask for information.
Stop.
I'm sorry.
Stop.
I'm sorry. The IRS's legal right to ask for information is Internal Revenue Code sections 6001, 6011, and 6012A, and their regulation. They say that you must file a return or...
Hold on. You're not... Okay. Who's they?
The IRS.
No. The IRS was our. 6001, 6011, 6012A, and the regulation.
Those regulations...
There you go. The regulations say what?
That you must file a return or statement with us.
Stop. Hold on, please. You're not listening. So what must you file without fail? Tell me what it says.
A return or statement.
Okay. I am current on all my statements according to the Paper Reduction Act, Privacy Act notice of the Internal Revenue Service. I'm current on all my statements. So I don't understand your question. They said you didn't file. Again, you got to understand something. I never, under any circumstance, assume anything. It says right there, you must file a return or statement. You didn't file. I did. I filed all my statements. Now, I file a statement every single year. It's only two lines.
Right.
Do you understand that?
Yes, I do. I do understand that now.
Okay, now, what I file every year, eat, shit, and die. I sign it and I date it and I put it in my file. That's what it tells me to do. What does it tell you?
It tells me to file a return or statement, and I suppose I would do something very similar. Just
okay. So what you tell them is, so you would tell them, I filed all my statements. Don't worry about filing them because you can type up eat, shit, and die and date it. 2001, 2002, you print it and then date it and sign it and send it. It doesn't matter. That's irrelevant. None of that matters. So you're going to write back that you're going to say, thank you for your letter. I never say you sons of bitches because it doesn't work. You write back and say, thank you for your letter. Now that I understand what you're asking, now that you asked me that, I don't understand what you're asking. I'm current on all my statements. And sign it and send it back. You're not going to tell them what it says. Let them come back and say, we don't want a statement. We want a return. We want a 1040. Well, here's the problem. According to their own statement, okay, I'm going to make a statement here now. You have to file a 1040 according to 6901. Tell me what I just did.
You went outside of the allowable statutory regulations.
No, sir, that's incorrect. I went outside of my legal, so I broke the law.
Oh, okay.
Breaking the law. Now, wait a minute. I want to show you how powerful this is. I need you to do me a favor. I need you to go to the Stop and Go inside of there and see Bubba. I've already paid for it. I just need you to pick it up, put it in the mail, and mail it to me. Pick up 650 pages of child pornography. Would you do it?
No.
Why?
Not into child pornography.
I don't care I'm not doing it for you. I'm doing it for me. Would you do it?
Yes.
No, why would you do it? It's illegal, dude. You get pulled over with that in your car, you go to prison. So, they're asking you to pick up child pornography. That's illegal. They can't do it. So, I'm just going to tell them, I'm current on all my statements. Thank you for noticing. Thank you for letting me clear that up with you. I'm not going to tell them nothing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to clarify it. Thank you for your letter. Thank you for that. Let me clear it up for you. I'm current on all my statements. Send it back. We don't understand. Oh, you don't understand. Well, according to the Paper Reduction Act, the Privacy Act notice, I'm current on all my statements. We still don't understand it. Oh, then why are you writing me? See, I assume absolutely nothing. When they make a statement, I take the raw statement and I use it against them. Doesn't that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
No, what
does?
Go on.
Okay. It says you must file a return or statement. What return must you file?
I suppose there's all kinds of different returns. There's 1040, there's 1099 OID, there's...
Oh, okay, but wait a minute. What does it tell you to file?
A return or a statement.
Okay, so what return does it tell you to file?
It doesn't specify.
Now I'm in the driver's seat now, and I'm going to drive. It says a return or statement. I file a statement every year. Well, how come we didn't get it? Show me in there where it says mail it. Doesn't. I take nothing, absolutely nothing. I'm just able to do that. I do what they say. See? You're in the woods, and you see a bear, and the bear grabs you. Would that scare you?
And I'm in the woods, and the bear grabs me. Well, where is the bear?
Oh, never mind. See, now by doing I took my grandson in the woods. Well, they're just little trees behind the house. There's 3 trees. He calls it the woods, and he's got a bear. We were holding it in the bear. I had one hand, he had the other hand. Guess what? Wasn't scared a bit. See, now the story's changed. That's what you have to do. Wow, thank you for telling me that. I appreciate you. Let me clarify that for you. According to your own publication, I'm current on all my statements. Then send it back. You want them to bite. You want them to say, well, we don't want the statements. Oh, but that's what see, now you've got them making a legal determination. You've got them outside of their legal right. If you have to sue the IRS, let me give you a hint. You can sue the IRS in federal district court, but only if they violate a statute, because the court does not have jurisdiction on anything the IRS does, but it does have jurisdiction over the statutes. So if they can only talk about 6001, 6011, and 6012A, and they talk about anything else, they violated the statute. Now you sue them for breaking the law by violating the federal statutes. I don't care about the IRS. See, now you have a chance to chop their head off. Why? Because they violated the statute. Does that make sense?
Yes, crystal clear. Now, at what point would I utilize my court order?
As soon as you don't need it right now. They're going to come in and say, that's not what it says. Then you're going to ask them. What you're going to do is if you need to use it, you can use it. But I would clear it up this way. Let them come back and say, that ain't what that says. Really? Are you an attorney? See? Let them hang themselves. Let them take 6 or 7 steps, then show it to them. Well, that ain't what that says, so you're making legal determination. See, what I want them to do is I want the IRS agent to make a legal determination, because not only did they violate the statute, but now I can bring in the bar. Hey, bar, guess what? You got a guy here that he's not legally, he's practicing law without a license. If you let him do it, I'm doing it. Doesn't matter to me. See, what I try to do is lay them a path that I want them to be on. I'm not a golfer, but they tell me that you play golf in the fairway, not the rough. I want them in the rough. Why? Because that gives me the advantage. Does that make sense for you?
Yes. So don't necessarily utilize my my court order right out of the gate.
Right.
My first impression was just highlights everything, where it says that they don't,
absolutely,
they don't have jurisdiction, and highlighted in the motion where it says the same thing. And I thought that was the first thing to do.
Okay, but see, if you do this first and they come back and say, well, we don't get it, well, then you're incompetent. See, they're incompetent. You should be an IRS agent then. Don't write me, don't talk to me, don't send me nothing, because you're incompetent by your own testimony. Then if you had to go to court, you'd say, Your Honor, not only that, look what he said here. This guy's an idiot. See, I got this court order. You'll be able to use a court order down the road, see? So what you want to do is, let me ask you a question. Have you ever heard of the statement, I took a knife to a gunfight?
Yes.
Why would you take a bazooka to a knife fight? Just take a knife.
Sure.
See the point? See? Okay, and that's what I do right there. I would tell them that according to the Paper Reduction Act, Privacy Act notice that Congress wrote, GPO Government Printing Office. You don't even have to get into that. Just say I'm current on all my statements. Let me clarify it for you. I'm current on all my statements, and then send it in. Let them get the poop on their shoes. See, let them step in it. See. Now I'm going to ask you a question. I saw a commercial today. Do you know what an interstate highway is?
Yes.
All right. What is it?
It's a state highway inside of the state.
No, an interstate highway.
An interstate?
Yeah.
Highway.
Yeah.
A freeway?
Okay, a freeway. Doesn't it tie states together? So an interstate highway system, wouldn't it tie Maine to Vermont to Michigan to Texas? Wouldn't an interstate highway connect the states? Wouldn't it?
Yes.
Okay, then how does Hawaii have an interstate highway system?
I always thought that was intrastate.
It doesn't matter. See, the point being, that's what I do right there. I ask the question and then I shut up. So let me clarify that for you. I'm current on all my statements. And then send it in. Let them say, well, we don't understand. What do you mean you don't understand? Or now you can say, according to the Paper Reduction Act and Privacy Act notice, see, then you print that page, highlight it, and say, I'm current on all my statements according to 6001, 6011, 6012A, and the regulations and your legal right. Send it in. See, then they'll come back to you. That don't mean that. Well, then here, let me show you what else I did. I sued the commissioner. He said that you don't have jurisdiction, so I don't want to hear from you again. See, now you've got 4 bites right there. If you had to go to court, you have enough right there to win the case.
Okay.
Does that help you?
That helps me tremendously. Yes, thank you. I was under the impression that I would be. That's why I wanted to call just to clarify. My only concern was that I don't have the 2019 court order, so I couldn't even send it. Yeah.
You don't need it right now. Just do it this way. And then when they get back to you, then we'll share some more with them on that page, and then by that time you'll have it, and then you can share it with them. Say,
okay.
Even if you don't have it, you send it in, and you say, well, if you didn't have it for 2000 to 2018, how'd you get it for 2019? Send it in. See, we can buy you 2 or 3 years right now just by what you have. You can buy a couple of years. Don't worry about it.
Okay. I thought there was a IRS statute that said that if the case was in litigation, that they couldn't do any collection activity anyways.
Well, we'll find out when it's in litigation. Show them that, but do it this way. See because this may buy you a year because they're going to be so confused. They're going to be so befuddled. I don't know.
This isn't going to be a fast-paced thing.
No, heavens no, and you don't want it to be.
Right. Okay.
So let me ask you a question. If you don't eat pork, if you don't eat pork, could you eat bacon?
What kind of bacon?
See how simple that is? They got turkey bacon. They got beef bacon. They've got.
Not any good, but
it doesn't matter. I didn't ask you how good it was. The point that I'm making, see, I never assume anything. Well, if you're not a pork eater, could you eat bacon? I don't know. What kind? See, they're going to tell me everything that I want to know. That way I got them completely wrapped up. I'm not going to throw myself under the bus. See?
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Thank you
very much, Kerry.
My pleasure.
Hey, Kerry, I have a question.
Well, then ask it. I'm here to try my best to help you.
All right, 2003, I got a sole proprietor EIN, which I never used. And they sent me this letter with the EIN number on it, and it has a voucher on it. You know anything about that?
I do not. But what I would do with it is, since you've never used it, I would use that EIN number. Let's just say you got a DBA that says Billy Bob's. I would open an account under Mary Lou and use that EIN number. That way I'd have a different name tied to it. That's what I would do.
Under a different name?
Well, okay, I have an EIN. I have an EIN, but I have a DBA, doing business as. My EIN number is tied to a name, but I don't use that name. I use a different name, and I got my EIN when they asked me, what's your social? I said, I got this EIN number, and I told her what it was. She wrote it down. She put it in the computer, and it went right through, not a problem. She said, okay. So I have an EIN number with one name that is tied to in the IRS, and I have a checking account with an EIN number that has a different name on it. So that if the IRS goes after my account and sends it to the bank, they're going to ask for Billy Bob's money. There ain't no Billy Bob with that EIN number. That EIN number goes to my DBA. And I don't, and so now there's a conflict. The bank has always said, I don't understand. The IRS tried to get my money one time. And the bank called me and says, I'm just doing this as a courtesy because I don't want to deal with you. The IRS is they called us and told us to give you your money. I said, go ahead and do it. I don't care because you're liable. I could care less. She said, that's what I thought. We won't do it. Thank you. And they just didn't do it. See, I've created such a stink for the bank that when I show up, they love the co-bed because I have to use the drive-thru. I don't like the drive-thru. I just don't like it. So they opened up last week, so I go inside. They took me, walked me into one of those offices and says, oh, you're back. I said, yeah. What do you want? I said, I got a deposit. I'll take that for you. They gave me the deposit, hand it back to me. And see, you're supposed to have a 24-hour hold on it. She says, we don't put a hold on your check. We'll let it go through. If it comes back, I said, I'll cover it. Don't worry about it. She said, thank you. And they just walked me out. See, they do stuff for me that they don't do for everybody else. Only reason is because they don't want to deal with me.
Interesting.
See, there's always a way out of it. And why do I say that? We have statutes. On a statute, there's always a remedy. So what I do is I don't care what they say. I look for the remedy. Then I go in there and I try to effectively use the remedy before I do anything. And if they don't do it, then the remedy is no good. See, but I've always had real good luck with stuff like that. Does that make sense? If you got an EIN number, get you a DBA, and then tie the DBA to that EIN number. Even though if it's for whatever, then just get you an EIN number and open you an account under the EIN.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
My pleasure. Does anybody else have any questions?
I got a question, Kerry.
All right.
Under the verification of returns, that says that it's got to be signed under penalties of perjury, or else it's null and void.
All right.
I think I heard you say
that's section 65 of Title 26. Are you in front of a computer?
Yeah. I'm looking at the. I'm looking at your page.
I want you to look at it and then ask the question so that we can read it and everybody will get it. And go ahead and I'll ask your question. You heard me say.
Yeah, that They try to say that this only applies to the taxpayer.
Stop right there. Hold on. I'm not going to allow this to happen. I never let adjectives get through. My next door neighbor is Mary and Bob They. I do not believe they said anything to you, because I went over there and asked them, and they said they don't know you. So what you just said was a bald-faced lie. Who's they? See, what happens is that's how we get into trouble. They said that I couldn't do this, that, or that. What are they saying? In other words, who's they?
I don't know. I'm just repeating what you said on one of these calls.
All right. I'll go ahead and ask it again. Okay, when I went to the courthouse, the court said that 6065 only pertains to us, not the Internal Revenue Service. So I found a Supreme Court case that says it's for both of us. I just have to find it.
I want that case. Yeah, I want that case. I need to see that.
I'm moving, and I got my stuff in a box. It's in my truck,
okay.
And my lease runs out at the end of the month, and so I got to move and get out of here, and then I've got to put everything back up. I'll do my very best to find it. Okay, so unfortunately, I don't have it right now. I can't get my hand on it, but I do have it. So once you get it, then you can use that. Now, if you will, would you read Title 26, Section 6065, so that they understand? What I try to tell everybody, I never received a statutory notice of deficiency. I never received a statutory notice of determination, and here's why. If you would read that for us.
Except as otherwise provided by the Secretary, any return, declaration, statement, or other document required to be made under any provision of the Internal Revenue laws or regulations shall contain or be verified by a written declaration made under penalties of perjury.
Now, if they send you a letter in the mail, could that be considered a document?
Absolutely.
Okay, then if it's not signed under penalties of perjury, that's why I do it this way. So, in other words, if I get a letter saying, hey, you didn't file, thank you very much, I did file. I filed all my statements, and I send it back. I don't sign anything I send to them. Why would I? Well, you didn't sign it. Well, of course not. Why would I sign it? You said not to. See, all I do is what they do. I got a letter the other day, and it says we need 90 more days for the question you asked in January of 2018. This is already 2021. That's 3 years, and they're still asking for time. So when I get a letter in the mail from them saying that you didn't do something, I take that letter, I duplicate that letter saying, well, here's what you're looking for, and I make something up, say, I need 90 days. I'm expeditiously trying to get this found. I word it just like they word theirs. Put it in things, say, I'll be back in touch with you in 90 days, and I send it off. I just bought myself 3 months. Could care less. In 89 days, I take that same letter, change the date, put it in there, mail it back. So when they write me a letter, they get a 90-day letter. That's all I can tell you. Why? Okay. That's what they see. What I realize is, why do we panic? They send you a letter saying that I'm going to come and take all your money. There ain't any money. You can have mine. I don't care, because I've got all mine in stuff that they can't take.
Right.
See, I have on my front door, I have a picture of a gun, and it looks like the bullets coming out of the end. And I said, my house is secured by a high-speed wireless device.
Hello, I got a question for you, Kerry.
All right, go ahead.
What do you do if the bank takes your money?
Say that again?
What do you do if these corporations already took your money out the bank or froze your account or stuff like that?
Okay. All right. Now, I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to answer this so I can show you. I have a 100,000-pound chain. My chain can lift 100,000 pounds in a vertical position. One of the links are broken, so I changed it out with a 100-pound link. How much weight can my 100,000-pound chain lift?
You said too many 100,000 pounds. Say that one more time.
I have a 100,000 pound chain. The chain can lift in a vertical position 100,000 pounds. One link was bad, so I changed that link out with a 100-pound link. How much weight can my 100,000 pound chain lift?
I'm thinking one. Wait a minute. 100,000 pounds. That was 100,000 pounds.
No, 100 pounds, because I changed one of the links out. One of the links is a 100-pound link, so I can only lift 99 pounds with it. So there's a weak link. There's a weak link. So what's the weak link in your chain? If it's the bank, go after the bank. Notice the bank. That's why I tell you, when you do stuff, you go after the weak link. So when the IRS went to the bank and told the bank to give them my money, I wrote a letter to the bank and said, I really don't care what you do. You do whatever you want to do, but if you take my money, you're going to be liable for it. So I want to see what the IRS said. Well, we can't show it to you. Not a problem. It's my account. You said that they told you to give it to you. I gave you a court order saying that they didn't have jurisdiction, and you're telling me it's none of my business. I'm glad you told me that. See, I kept writing them letters until I got everything that I needed. Then when I filed my lawsuit against the bank, the $75,000 came back. Magically came back.
So you sued the bank?
I didn't have to. I wrote them a notice saying, this is your notice to sue. Here's what I asked you. What did the IRS say? You said, I can't tell you. That's my account. You said you had to do what the IRS said, okay? The tax court said the IRS said they didn't have jurisdiction, so I'm telling you what the court said the IRS said. You're saying that you're going to give it to them. I said, do whatever you want to do, because this is your notice to sue. You said, see, I asked them first, and once I got the letter, see Exhibit A. Exhibit A was that lady's signature on a piece of paper saying they have to follow what the IRS says. They have no choice. Guess what? I went to the tax court, and the commissioner, the boss of the IRS, said he didn't give me a notice of deficiency, a notice of determination. Therefore, they don't have jurisdiction. So the IRS said in writing to the tax court they didn't have jurisdiction. She's going to tell me now that an agent said they have it? I don't care. See? Because I'm going to get my pound of flesh. That's how I do everything. I'm going to get a pound of flesh. Does that make sense?
So that makes sense. So child support is pretty much the tax court anyway, too, right?
Well, child support is a state issue. What you have to do is I have a form that you can deal with on the state. I really don't like to get involved with child support, okay? And the reason I don't like to get involved with child support is there's children involved. And as a parent, I will do everything in my power to make sure my daughters have what they need, whether I pay for it or my wife pays for it. I don't care.
Oh, no. My kids are grown. They all in the Navy. They all grown.
Okay, well, in that case, I have a form that we can send to them that will ask them what they're asking for, and if they don't answer it, we can default them and then take them to court saying, I'm trying to do what I need to do. But real quick, before we go, are you in front of a computer?
Yes.
All right, put in Title 31, Section 3124, and you'll see what I use against the child support people. What it's going to make, and then read it. Read it. I won't stop you. We're just going to read through it, and I want you to let that sink in. That way you'll understand. See, what I try to do is I try to use everything in my ability to use what they say against them. That's why I ask questions. I never tell them anything. I don't know what I am. See, I don't know what I am. So what do you think I am? Tell me what I am. See, that way they tell me. Once they tell me, then I can use that against them. So go ahead and read that real quick.
You said Title 31?
Section 3124.
Okay, hold on. Which one? A1?
Or the whole thing? Start reading the whole thing. Read the heading first.
31 U.S.C. Code 3124, exemption from taxation.
Stop right there. So this is going to, hold on, exemption from taxation. Wouldn't you like to know what's exempt from taxation?
Yeah.
Then let's read it.
Number A, stocks and obligations of the United States government are exempt from taxation by the state or political subdivision of the state. The exemption applies to each form of taxation that will require the obligation, the interest on the obligation, or both, to be considered in computing a tax except.
Stop right there. Don't worry about that. The except is because you signed up, you signed a document saying you wanted to do it. So stocks and obligations of the federal government cannot be taxed by a state or political subdivision of a state. So that means property tax, sales tax, child support, tickets, anything the state touches, they cannot ask for federal obligations. And if you go to Title 18, Section 8, it will define it for you. So make it quick. We'll read this, and then we'll call it a night. I think that we're over. So go to Title 18, Section 8, and let's read what obligations of the United States are.
Title 18, Section 8. Okay. 18, Section 8. Code 8 obligations or other securities of the United States defined?
Oh, stop. See? So they're going to define it right now. The law is going to define what an obligation of the federal government is. Let's read it real quick. None of these that you say can be used for taxes of any kind in a state. Go ahead.
The term obligation or other security of the United States includes all bonds, certificates of indebtedness, national bank currency, Federal Reserve notes, Federal Reserve bank notes, coupon, United States notes, Treasury notes, gold certificates, silver certificates, fractional notes, certificates of deposit, bills, checks, or drafts for money drawn by or upon authorized officers of the United States, stamps and other representatives of value of whatever denomination issued under any act of Congress and canceled United States stamp.
That's good enough. So a state could be the United States, and a political subdivision of the state could be the Texas, Oklahoma, whatever. So
right.
Federal Reserve notes are not taxable under any circumstance, under any government of the United States, period. And that's what I use against them. So I asked the question, in other words, I owe you child support, and I'm ready, willing, and able to pay it, but here's what I need from you. Define what you're wanting for me to send you so I can send it. I'm an idiot. I don't understand. And then I list every one of those. Check the box, circle the one that you want me to send you. They will not do it. So then I file a notice to sue, and then I file a lawsuit if I need to in the state district court because the child support division is asking me to do something, and I don't know how to do it, and they're asking me to break the law. So we need to have this fixed and fixed now. That's how I do everything. I just ask them questions. They don't answer it, then I let them default themselves. So.
Hey, do you happen to have that form, Corey, or can I get your email or something? My name is Vince. I want to see that form.
You got it. You already got it. Ed sends it out with you. If you got the invitation tonight, you got it. But to answer your question, email Ed. Ed will give me your email, and I'll send it to you. And I'll send you the cover letter that I use, and I'll call you. Put your phone number on there when I call you so I can explain it to you. It's extremely simple. It's so simple, they don't know what to do with it. And once they don't answer it, we're going to do a fault and then a default. With the default, any and all today or future debts to the child support division is paid in full. Now I file it in the court and I mail it to them. Now I've got something I can get traction on. Doesn't that make sense?
Yes, it does.
See, yes, it does. What I try to do is I don't tell you. Okay, let me ask you a question. Do you know what an affidavit is?
Yes, I did.
I never use them. I think they're the worst thing you can use. The reason for it is you have to make a claim. I, Carrie, a living, breathing man. Well, how do you know you're a living, breathing man? Defined by who? See, I'm not a man. I used to be a woman, then now I've had the sex change, so maybe he'll see. In other words, I can't make the claim because I cannot tell you what you think a man is. See? Well, I'm a man because I beat my chest. I'm a man because I pick my nose. Well, I don't pick my nose. Well, I'm not. See, I'm never going to make a claim. That's why I will not use I will never use an affidavit. I use notices. This is a notice to tell you what I plan on doing. If you don't answer the following questions, then you agree with me. Here's what you're agreeing to. And I just put down what they're agreeing to, and I send it to them. If they don't answer the question, they've admitted it according to the what is it? To the estoppel of silence. If you don't answer the foregoing questions, then you agree with me. This is what you agree with. Number 1, you're a butt. Number 2, you're an idiot. Number 3, you're a liar. Number 4, you're a... See, and I put all that down. That's how I do everything.
Okay. Sounds good.
So.
Okay, Kerry.
Thank you. Thank you, Ed. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank everybody for getting on here tonight.
Is the notice of fault in there too?
It is. It is.
Yeah. Thank you, Ed. Thank you, Kerry. And I got that email sent to you there, Ed.
Okay.
You send it to me, and I'll give you a call probably tomorrow and go over it with you.
Our next call will be June the 8th. Everybody.
All right. Looking forward to it, guys. See you.